That's fair.
Hey everybody, this is the Let Us Eat Healthy podcast. Today we're handling the topic of why eating healthy is more expensive than eating unhealthy food. The significance of this issue is that our group is interested in health, and we realize this affects people's health and well-being every day because everyone chooses to eat unhealthy food because they can't afford healthier food. And here I'm going to introduce my group mates. This is Mark, Katarina, Grace, Campbell, and Aiden.
The issue of healthy foods being more expensive than unhealthy foods is important to today's society because unhealthy foods are more prevalent since it's more readily available, cheaper, and takes less effort than eating healthy. It's easier now than ever to gain health problems from a poor diet. Mark, what do you think about today's topic?
I think today's topic is very important. Like for my own personal lifestyle, I like to go to the gym, and when you're going to the gym, it's very important to like be eating like good foods and healthy foods. But definitely, there's 100% increase from when I used to just buy like regular groceries, not even putting thought into it, just getting whatever I liked, and then like switching to like Whole Foods and trying to eat healthy. Like I shop on the very bare minimum of what I need, and my bills are coming out to like $100 something for around a week and a half's worth of groceries. So I think like in terms of people being healthy, I don't think like it should be as expensive. So that's my personal take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely relate to that in my life because I live in a sorority house right now, and I noticed that since healthy foods are more expensive, everyone kind of defaults to unhealthier foods or has like a meal plan, and eating on campus is not the healthiest choice. So I think living in a sorority house with everyone kind of comparing themselves to each other, it's definitely, I've seen it develop in eating disorders because everyone's trying to like fit in, no one wants to stand out, and we can't afford healthier food options.
Yeah.
Also, speaking from personal experience, as a woman with PCOS and somebody who struggled with anemia and malnutrition, I can say that stepping out and, as Mark said, trying to choose more healthy foods, stay away from seed oils and more processed veggies, and stick to non-GMO and organic ones, they do tend to be more expensive. And then when you're looking at protein intake and fiber, and you also want to focus on gut health, it's just a lot to think about. And then as a student, you don't have a lot of free time to be doing all that thinking, and then with classes you don't have a lot of time to be eating, so then it's just too much organizing and time to be thinking about. And then when you also have to think about how you're going to budget all of that in, when you're going to make all that money, it's just too much. I don't know, can I write that out? I'm not going to keep going, but we'll work on it again.
Yeah, I definitely think that having the unhealthy foods, it's easier because everyone's always on the go, especially when you're running late for class. You try to grab something quick just so you can get to class and your stomach doesn't growl in the middle of class, because that can sometimes be embarrassing if it's too loud. But
I think also with this, like, it's clear that it's more expensive, and we can see that, and you can go to any grocery store and see that. But I think for this project, we wanted to see how other people think about it, if that affects how they buy groceries each week, if they want to buy organic food over the other, even though it's more expensive. So I feel like that was the main point of this.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like also, especially with everything happening out with like just happening across the world, whether it be like politics or economic situations, I feel like getting like access to healthy foods too has been a little bit harder than it has in recent years, because like for example we have like that the bird flu going on, so like a bunch of eggs trash, a bunch of chickens trash, and now we're like resorting to like shipping in eggs from different countries, but that's also like adding tax to like something like an egg, for example, that's like packed with like like a bunch of nutrients, protein, fats. Like right off the bat, like if you eat 3 eggs, you're probably gonna feel pretty satiated, pretty full. But let's say if you eat like not even 3 cookies, like 20 cookies, you'll probably be like still hungry for some more. So like I feel like there's like a disparity that needs to be like looked at when it comes to like just looking at the types of foods and all that.
yeah, So then this leads us to our next section of our interviews that we conducted. We interviewed people at Sprouts and Publix, right? Or is it Whole Foods?
It was Sprouts, yeah.
Sprouts and Publix. And we kind of just like looked for people that were just like open to being recorded and looked like they were going in for groceries. We did do it the day after Valentine's Day, so we found that a lot of people were just going to Publix for flowers. Or the day before Valentine's Day, so people were just getting flowers. But we did find lots of people that were going in for just a normal day of grocery shopping.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. So, when we went to Publix, we interviewed around, as I remember it, we were interviewed around 8 or 9 people. And a lot of the people we went up to, we didn't really have a correlation on types of people. It's just straight up like whoever we saw like leaving or entering the building, we went up to and asked them. And like a lot of them were just there for like small things. They weren't like going all out for a full grocery shopping, but they were just getting like some people we ran into, they were getting like little snacks, and other people we ran into, they were just getting like straight up like ground beef or like just like main ingredients. But I would say like one thing we like picked up from a lot of people is just like everyone was there just in terms for like convenience sake, because if we like look back in a couple of interviews, a lot of people are saying like the reason why they chose to do the Publix, and the Publix we were mentioning is the one on campus. The reason why they chose it is because of the fact of the vicinity it is to where they live, so convenience.
Yeah, when we asked them the interview questions, we asked them like the reason for shopping, whether it was convenience, the price, the location, and then we asked what they were buying or who they were buying for, and then we asked them their thoughts on organic versus non-organic, if they care, if they don't care.
Are you guys doing Publix?
Non-organic. So when we went to Publix, we asked the question like if they prefer organic or non-organic, and a lot of them really didn't care, or they said like, oh, I prefer organic, but like it didn't really have an effect on what they were buying because they were mostly there for convenience.
It was the day before Valentine's Day, so they were buying a lot of flowers.
Yes.
It's convenient.
Yeah, and there was one dude who was just there for sushi. He didn't.
Oh yeah, he was just there for sushi. So I'm here with
Daphne.
Daphne, nice to meet you. So the questions we have today relate to our group communication class. We're just talking about like overall like health and just amongst supermarkets and foods. So the first question today is, why did you choose this store?
Because it's the only one that I can get stuff on campus.
I got you. So the convenience factor of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then what are you buying today?
Water.
Water. Gotcha.
Protein bars.
Gotcha. All right. And then when you're buying food normally, do you prefer organic or non-organic foods?
Organic.
Organic. I gotcha. And then why is that?
Because I guess I just don't like manufactured stuff.
I got you. So you want to stay away from like GMOs and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. I got you. And then when you're getting food normally, do you check the labels to determine if the product's healthy?
Sometimes, not all the time.
I got you. And then why do you think eating healthier can be more expensive?
Well, I guess there's more work put into the stuff.
I got you. Yeah. So I'm here today with
Chris?
Chris. Thank you so much. So my questions today is, why did you choose this store today to shop?
It's the closest Publix we could find.
I got you. So that convenience factor. And then, what are you buying today?
Donuts.
Donuts. All right. I'm really jealous of you, by the way. Do you prefer, when you're shopping normally, do you prefer buying organic or non-organic foods?
Non-organic.
I gotcha. And then, when you're shopping, when you check the back of the labels, do you use it to determine if a product's healthy?
No.
No? Gotcha. And then, why do you think eating healthier can be more expensive?
There's more loss,
I gotcha.
right? You're not using the pesticides and all that sort of stuff. You're there'll be less less food.
I got you. The quality control's harder. All right. Well, thank you so much for your.
Talking about our interviews at Sprouts, we went to Sprouts, and the one that's right, I mean,
It's on
It's on
Fowler,
Fowler.
closest to campus.
closest campus. I feel like it's the closest like healthy grocery store. To
Yeah, because we
campus.
didn't know whether to do Whole Foods or Sprouts, and then we figured maybe Sprouts is just more
Yeah,
convenient
to
for
me, and
everyone.
maybe like crossover with the Publix customers.
Yeah,
because they're close in location.
Sure.
Why did you choose this store today?
It's kind of a one-stop shop. I needed to get flowers and then some healthier chocolate.
Healthier
My mom,
chocolate? Okay.
She's diabetic.
Okay. I guess you just answered what
Yeah,
you're buying
fine.
today. Do you prefer organic or non-organic foods?
Organic.
Okay. Do you check the labels to determine if something's healthy?
I do. I mean, it's kind of like when I buy fruits and vegetables. And
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say sometimes when I'm doing like the box stuff, but
Yeah,
usually when I
package.
shop here, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why do you think eating healthier can be more expensive? It's just like your opinion.
Yeah, probably something you do with the farming.
Mhm.
You know,
Like the whole labor around it.
yeah, it probably takes a little bit more to farm organic
Mm-hmm.
versus the easier which is pesticides and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And because you mentioned that this was like a one-stop, when you are usually shopping, do you find yourself kind of avoiding certain products that are maybe healthier and organic because it is a higher price, or no? Do you say that you would rather go for the higher
I like to
price?
stick with the what is it? So with berries and stuff like
Mhm.
that, I like to make sure it's organic.
Organic.
Other things, I kind of have to be a little bit flexible on because of cost.
'Cause of it, yeah.
If it's like avocado or maybe even bananas, it doesn't necessarily have to be organic, but
Yeah.
definitely like, the berries and
The
stuff.
yeah, everything that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your response. Thank you so much.
Okay. The first thing that we found when we walked into Sprouts, Grace and I personally have never really shopped at Sprouts, at least not for like our own personal benefit. So we first wanted to conduct like a vibe check with every interviewee that we had. So like a common thread that we found was everybody had their thing that they were there for.
Yeah.
So we gave everybody a nickname just to keep things interesting. So Chicken Sausage Girl, she came for the vibes and the sausage. Smoothie Girl, she picked the store because it was close, whereas Hot Almond Mom was on a flowers and chocolate mission. As Campbell mentioned, this was the day before Valentine's Day, so a lot of flowers and chocolate being bought. Scam Guy, who was all about that butter, even the 90-year-old and Sprouts worker just wanted the hot dog.
Who did you guys run into?
We had a very dynamic.
Yeah, and very
Customers,
diverse group, and that's what we
like, yeah.
wanted. We wanted to pick different, well, this is gonna sound funny, but we wanted to pick people of different colors, different ages, different, because we wanted to hear from everyone
And I feel
what
like
they were
also,
choosing to eat.
yeah, like it was a wide, like we had a 9-year-old and we only had like a couple students. Like it was like a lot of
And they were
like,
older, like 25
older.
already graduate students.
And
Yeah.
from that, what you just said, I feel like a lot of people were there for like a specific item. Because Sprouts, I mean, I guess it is more expensive, so I feel like most of the people there were like, I wanted the chicken sausage. Like I came here for my hot dogs.
Yeah.
Like
And-
it was for like one thing.
And we also noticed, as somebody who personally I've shopped at like Trader Joe's, and I know like Trader Joe's department that also does try to take like a more affordable spin on organic and like non-processed foods. I know that they have like their own brands and spin on things, whereas that's what Chicken Sausage Girl said. She loves Sprouts chicken sausages.
Yeah.
She loves the protein in them. She loves the taste. She loves the texture, and she doesn't like them anywhere else. So that was kind of like our overall pattern, I guess we could say. People weren't there necessarily like doing big shops or like anything. They were just, I needed a thing.
yeah.
But also the convenience and vibes really mattered to everyone and to us. Stores with a good atmosphere and healthy options without Whole Foods pricing are winning.
So the next question we asked was if they cared about whether food was organic or non-organic. We had the impression going in there that if we're looking at people in Sprouts, they would care. And honestly, it was kind of a toss-up, I would say, from like the overall consensus of the people that we interviewed.
And again, I think it's important to note that both Publix and Sprouts interviews were conducted during class time. So we're talking like before noon, right before lunchtime, but then a lot of students are getting off and having lunch at that time. So I feel like the people that we did run into may have varied based on the time and the day that we chose to do this. Had we done this maybe 2 or 3 days after Valentine's Day, maybe from like 5 to 7 p.m. instead of like 11 to 12 or 1, which is like usually when we were doing them, I feel like we may have gotten a little different variety of answers.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there was a lot of variation.
I agree that people like for Publix too, like now that you bring up the time thing is like personally I
Publix opens at 10, right?
Publix opens at 10 or
Yeah.
you're right, they do open at 10 and I feel like we were just getting like random blips of people rather than people like going in for actual groceries because I feel like oftentimes that's usually happening like after work or way late in the day like personally like yesterday I went to Publix to go get some food and like just like a pub sub just to eat real quick and I couldn't find parking. I could not find parking in the parking lot. That's how bad it was at 7 o'clock. And I was just thinking to myself, damn, I really wish like if we did our interviews today on this time, we've got so many people. And like I feel like the variety of like what they were buying would have been way larger. So I definitely see a skew in like how our data might have come across and
I think also on the organic versus non-organic stuff, a lot of people at Sprouts said yes, like they care if it's organic, but sometimes it's just too expensive for them. Like they do like care like deep down, but overall when they're choosing between 2 items and one is a couple dollars more and they're buying it every week, it adds up. So they're gonna stray away from it. I know I think the hot almond mom said that she likes to buy her produce. She likes that it says organic.
Yeah.
Sprouts.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times, I mean, maybe not us like as college students, but I feel like generally, especially like the public that we did choose to interview, I feel like people do forget that it is, what's the word that I'm looking for? It is not a blessing, but it is a luxury to be able to have that choice and to go out of your way and give those extra few dollars, or even if it's just a couple more cents, because at the end of the day or at the end of the week or at the end of the month, it really does make an overall difference.
yeah, it's kind of crazy to think like eating healthy is a like quote unquote luxury, but at the end of the day,
But
really
it is, exactly. And I mean, that's what like our whole group's focus and like the whole like what we wanted to focus our project on was why is eating healthy more expensive? And according to our Sprout interviews, there was like one juicy, huge theme. Between packaging and marketing, it was that everything is pretty much higher cost. So the better it looks, the higher it's going to cost. And I feel like that, like us girls personally can relate to like trends, whether it's Stanley Cups or Graza olive oil from Whole Foods. Girls are out here buying $50, $60 olive oil, which I'm sure it does cost that much because I know that authentic organic olive oil does cost, more than like regular virgin olive oil you can get at like Publix. But still, paying $60 for a bottle of olive oil that people are probably overusing anyway, because you know what I mean, a little goes a long way.
Yeah.
We won't even get into that, but that goes into labor and spoilage, more expensive to produce. Smoothie Girl and Hot Almond Mom said that that's why they believe the products they're getting, specifically produce, and like things for a smoothie would cost more. It's because they know that growing things and then importing it, that's what you were talking about with like with the egg flu and like the disease, it's the import that's increasing, and that's why they need to make up for it, which is why we're getting taxed more. So it does make sense, but is it necessarily fair? That's kind of what we're trying to figure out. Ethics in sourcing, more cost, that's what a Chomps marketer that was actually, he was conducting like a little like marketing advertising project for like the Chomps, what are they like?
They're like beef sticks.
Yeah, they're like beef sticks or like they even have like turkey ones and they're like filled with protein and they're so good. I used to get those at Trader Joe's. But again, he was saying how like they choose to promote at locations like Sprouts and Whole Foods because they know that the public that they're attracting are already ready to give a little more because they know that they're paying for better quality, and that's just.
He even said like as a promoter, like because we were just kind of talking like
on the DL, like on the real,
yeah. So he was even saying like, I mean, these are a little expensive, but they're really good, but they're a little expensive.
Exactly.
He was even saying that. So I think he was also saying just overall with the organic stuff, like it's just expensive.
Exactly. And now, can we argue that it's just a scam? The polite scam gentleman gets points for honesty because he said he really does believe it is. He said, what, $1 or $2 really is gonna, I don't know how they wash it, I don't know where they get it from, I don't know what ground they pulled the potato out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We really don't know, and does higher quality mean higher price? It definitely does. That was our most realistic take and the most repeating pattern out of the
I
Sprouts
also feel
interviews.
like people, even with like dietary restrictions, are having to eat more things from like Sprouts or Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah.
because,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like gluten intolerance, like
Yeah.
you can't have certain things, and I think Sprouts and Whole Foods offers more gluten intolerant options,
Yeah.
especially dairy. Like
Dairy
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
lactose free,
There's a
absolutely.
lot more options that people with like allergies can get from Whole Foods or Sprouts.
Mhm.
And I would also say, like, this is just okay, hear me out. This is just like some bro science I'm about to talk about right now. But I feel like also after COVID too, there like that was the biggest like initial like shock to our supply chain issue when it comes to food and everything. But ever since then, I feel like the market on like be healthy, guys. Like we have a disease out there. Like ever since
Has
that,
gone up. Yeah.
like
I
eating
know.
healthy, being healthy, like everything about that has
There's
blown
nothing
up.
else to do than fixate on your
Yeah,
health. And
I do
like,
remember.
everyone was
Health
like,
is
"Look at
wealth,
yeah, the
guys."
I was just
clothes,
gonna mention the
like,
Chloe
everyone,
Ting
like,
workout.
yeah.
Like
Health is
Exactly.
wealth, guys.
Yes.
Health is wealth.
But-
like that's so cringy to say, but it really is. You can't
Yeah.
do anything out of a hospital bed.
Yeah,
Like,
but that is the truth of it. But I feel like okay, a bunch of big brands buy smaller brands, right, through like umbrella companies and whatnot. But they're marketing as like, hey, you guys know like that brand Bertolli's. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a pretty common brand, right? Their olive oil isn't 100% olive oil. They mix it with canola oil,
Yeah.
but
Super fat.
yeah,
yeah,
seed oils.
but guys, like their parent company also owns Graza. Their parent company owns all this organic stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what the
And
that's what
it's
the
just
issue
some-
is.
like to like let's say if you really wanted to go out of your way to press and make your own like super organic olive oil, sure, you gotta pay for the machinery and whatever, but is it really gonna come out to, you said like $60 a bottle, like is it really gonna come out to $60 a bottle or
also,
more than 20?
Graza, they have like that package where they have drizzle and then sizzle, and
Yes.
sizzle's the one that you're supposed to cook with,
Yeah,
and drizzle's the one that you're supposed to top things with.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
Yeah, like,
really
it's
different
really-
because I
yeah.
tasted both. I really don't
Yeah.
taste that much.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel? You're like eating a type of oil that for some reason has two different burning points
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
like being the
It
same
should
oil.
just be oil. Yeah.
Yeah, but those brands have done such a great job. Like, yeah, we're in Sprouts, we're in Whole Foods. Boom, you're already thinking it's healthy because of
Oh,
of
yeah.
that.
Well, also,
Yeah.
Graza's not being sold in Publix. I don't know how
Exactly.
new that is, but I know that they're in there.
I do think people think, I mean, even no matter what they buy, if they're buying something in Sprouts, they just think it's healthier. I mean, I don't know. Either way, it
I
depends
just
on what they're
think when I
buying.
walk in there,
But
everything's
everything
like
is just
when you
organic,
walk
just thrown
into,
at you. Like
all like the vegetable things, like,
Yes.
like a mist. It feels like
it just
feels
feels
cleaner, healthier.
healthier
Versus
Yeah.
the packaging
than-
just feels.
yeah.
I don't know. They do something to the packaging that's different than I would say like a Lay's chip bag versus
Yes.
like the Siete ones. Like the
Yes.
Siete ones are
It
thick
Yeah.
looks
or like
better,
thicker packaging,
yes.
whereas Lay's is like kind of like thin
Yeah.
packaging, easier. To
Oh,
It's flimsy.
I see it.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah.
those chips, so
It's
originally they were like super healthy. Like I think like fried in like beef tallow and all that stuff. But now Lay's bought them
Yes.
out though, and now they're made like regular chips.
I was just
Yeah.
about to say though, even though obviously like we don't know, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whether it's really like what's the difference
The
between
mass production.
drizzle and
so
sizzle,
honestly,
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's all
mass
commercial,
production,
it's all
yeah.
mass production. Yeah. But what I can say is that there definitely has been like an evidence scare, whether it was around the time or like easing up after COVID. All this like FDA approved and disapproved stuff on like the
Yeah.
food marketing and stuff. As somebody who has been a Steak and Shake fan for years,
Yeah, shout out
I
to
can now
Shake.
proudly say that
Oh, I've seen
I
this.
found out that my dear Steak and Shake only now uses beef tallow
I saw
for
that.
all of their
That's
meat,
fire.
all of their fries. Yes,
I
so
saw
no
that,
seed.
yeah.
And okay, there's gonna be that almond girl on TikTok who's gonna argue that beef tallow is still yeah, but it's better than seed
better,
oils
yeah.
and it's better than exactly. And I confirmed that last time that I went, so I will still be having as much as I've been eating. So yeah, so it's good to know, like you know what I mean, that like your local, even if it's commercial
Yes,
chains,
yeah.
even
Yeah.
they're trying
Yeah.
to make little like changes so that we can feel a big difference when eating. Personally, me, I've had some burgers where after I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
better that I didn't
Yes.
eat because now I feel even worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not just burgers, chicken, like
Yeah.
everything that needs to be fried, everything that needs to be.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
agree.
I honestly, like Mark was saying, I feel like overall recently, like there's been a spike in people wanting to eat healthier, just be healthier, have a healthier lifestyle. So I mean, honestly, I feel like this is just attests to why we wanted to look at it.
And trend or not, it's working in our favor.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I feel like, I feel like a lot of corporations are benefiting off that fact. Like, I feel like there's a way bigger influx of like, not just influencers, you also got like, why is Mark Zuckerberg like in a fight ring doing MMA? Like, you have like all these people like doing like such active stuff, and like people doing such active stuff, they need to be eating good or it's just not gonna work. And I feel like we see such a like big rush of it like in media all over that I'm referencing this back to our Publix interviews, like companies are profiting off that, like the convenience. Like I feel like they're, to like sidetrack a little bit, like I feel like there's brands like AG1, it's an athletic greens company, and you could hypothetically get all your vitamins and stuff from eating like really healthy throughout your day, but you're eating like a bunch of red meat, bunch of vegetables, a bunch of healthy fats, or you live on like day-to-day life, you don't have time for that. AG1, stir it up, out the door, boom, convenience. Like it's a no-brainer to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of companies, not like in the terms of like an athletic greens powder, but like they're trying to market the convenience of being healthy. Like being healthy can be convenient, but we're gonna slap like kind of tax on it. Like I would say a healthy tax.
Yeah.
Like it's like compared to inorganic products versus organic products. Like I know there's labor and stuff that goes into it, but like you're seeing like a $4 increase between like guacamole that's like pre-packaged and can last like 6 months versus guacamole that's gonna last like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I make sure it's still recording?
It's
I was just thinking that. Just to make sure we're not.
Yeah, it's still recording.
You have unlimited storage.
I think so.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
What's next? Do we have anything else to say? Is this it for that? And then we
Honestly,
can
that was
compare.
a lot of talking that we just did of like random stuff, and I think that
You really got rid of that.
Yeah.
Should we do
Well,
more
I also-
compare? Or do you want to talk about Sprouts more?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Jordan and Aiden though, I think you guys should talk more though.
yeah.
Okay.
You
Are
say
we still on comparing and contrast?
I mean, honestly, we're good. We can like we can compare the two later, but I think we should kind of start talking about maybe group concepts a little bit.
Well, if we're on the topic of the Sprouts amounts.
Oh, you mean
like if we wanted
okay.
if we wanted to compare more, like directly.
That's what I'm saying.
compare
I don't
Publix and
have
Sprouts.
this done for Publix though in front of me, so I can. You know.
Well, I didn't know if they just wanted to chime in.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine chiming in. I think. Are you guys fine with it too?
Because we don't have anything planned out to compare right now, but I feel like we should should
as
just
we're
compare
talking,
the two.
as we're
I mean, it
talking.
doesn't even have to be planned out. It could just be a conversation.
Yeah.
I have an idea that I can talk about the Publix people and how they compare it to Sprouts, and then I can tie it into the first concept, or no, the second concept.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
should
yeah.
I do the symbolic one before the decision making?
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah.
Okay.
So should we start off with that, or what? How do you?
Well, yeah. Let's start off with that.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. So, I noticed the difference between the Publix shoppers and the Sprouts shoppers is that there was not as much, like, with the Publix shoppers, they didn't seem as diverse or dynamic as the Sprouts shoppers. Like, they seemed very monotone. Like, they were all there for one reason. They didn't really have any care about what they were shopping for specifically. I want to talk about one of the group communication terms, which is the symbolic convergence theory, which explains how shared narratives and storytelling create a sense of cohesion and shared meaning within a group. So, because we talked to a lot of different people at Publix, and then they talked to a lot of people at Sprouts, the result of the interview, you can see like sort of a cohesion through the people at each store. For example, the narratives and the stories they told about why they shop the way they do, their shopping patterns, it creates sort of an identity of being a Publix shopper or a Sprouts shopper. For example, a Publix shopper is a college student who prioritizes convenience. A Sprouts shopper is someone who cares about what they're buying and wants to buy Whole Foods and has a busy lifestyle, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think like the big tie-in with what you said about like honestly like the narrative cohesion between their responses, and I think that overall, whether we're talking about Sprouts, interviewees or Publix ones, people's food choices are tied into their lifestyle and their budget. At the end of the day, it's not that they don't want healthy food, or those that, you know, may or may not necessarily care. It's not that they don't, it's that they don't have to make trade-offs depending on who they're feeding or how much they can spend. If you're shopping for yourself, you can justify maybe splurging here and there more often, but if you're shopping for a family, then that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I feel like just to stereotype it, I feel like from our interviews, the Publix customers were students, convenience, it was just right there, they were just grabbing stuff to go. Sprouts, I feel like we saw a lot of people there for the experience of Sprouts itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, I just thought about the 9-year-old man we were talking to, and he was like, well, I mean, I didn't get here from just like eating whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 9 years old and I do that from eating Sprouts.
Yeah.
So I think that's, I mean, it just showed people were there for that experience of Sprouts rather than the convenience of, I'm just going to go in and grab something, whether it's healthy or not.
And I liked how Mark brought up like the whole influence of media or just having it around, and how it like foreplays with health. And I think it's very important what Aiden said, like, let me think how I'm gonna tie this back. I think that our use of media, whether it's trends for food or like Campbell said, being influenced by girls and what's in and what's not, what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating, developing eating disorders, or what I can say is that, yeah, I'm sure that media does have a big negative and impactful impact on college students' health and like just the overall outlook on their health, how much they should be working towards it, whether it's worth it to splurge, whether it's worth it to work towards something that will reward you with, you know what I mean, money, or something that you can splurge for yourself. I can say that media has worked like in a very positive way for me in that aspect. Like so many quick and easy like one pan recipes that I've seen on TikTok. So many health foods and like more like whole food alternatives, or like Target. Target now has like so many of these things where like they've turned like food trends into products, and now you can get it. And now a lot of yogurts are, you know what I mean, they're lactose free, but you still have that protein and you still have that fiber and you still have that, you know what I mean, without all those chemicals and all those add-ins and all those. So I feel like we can argue that like the influence of media and just like the whole sense of like community, like whether it's like if you're on the health side of TikTok or like the unhealthy side, like I don't know, there's obviously like there was like that pickle chat with like the talkie pickle challenge or whatever.
Oh,
with, like,
yeah.
the food roll. Like obviously I've seen some like disgusting and like godforsaken unhealthy things on there, but of course I've seen healthy ones too. So I just feel like it's a lot of like ideas, it's new, branching out. Like
I feel like before a lot of people would just tell you, well, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, and now it's like, well, here's some alternatives.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
with social media and stuff, it's like, well, instead of this, choose this. But as before, it was just, well, you can't eat this, and then you're like, well, what do I eat?
exactly.
So,
Also, like with social media, like living in a sorority house, like we all saw like how sea moss and coconut coal was the
oh
trend.
my gosh,
It
yes.
still kind of is, but like me and my roommates saw that, and we live in the same room, so we share the room. And we went to Sprouts, got our sea moss, and we were doing it every morning. And then other girls in the house started getting it, so we all were doing it. We all started like comparing our results, like, oh, are we getting skinnier? Oh, is our skin better? Like all of those things, and then we
And
started
doesn't that
trying.
taste like super nasty?
Oh my
too?
gosh, it tastes like goo. Like that is like
It seems like,
disgusting.
but I'm sure if I saw you doing it, I would
Oh,
do
yeah,
it too.
when it's a trend.
And they have turned it into having like so many different flavors. So like I have the mango pineapple. My roommate had like this
Oh, yeah.
wild berry or blueberry raspberry
Yeah.
something that was
Five,
blue. So like
yeah.
so there's blue, there's a red one, there's yellow, like there's a bunch of different flavors. And so everyone's like trying different flavors, but like it was just such a trend that we hopped on board with. And now like after I did it for like a month, the rest of the jar is just sitting in my fridge right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't touched it. Like,
Yeah.
it comes and goes, and like I didn't really see that much of a change in my diet or weight or anything when I was taking it. But my roommate said it cleared her skin up, so.
But I think that's another example of like the symbolic awareness theory right there. It's just the idea like you guys had shared narratives, like you wanted health benefits from it, and a group of you like were like, okay, wait, let's check this out. Let's like go through with it and see what's gonna happen. And but throughout all that, like that entire experience, like you guys walked away with different things. Like now you know, like for example, sea moss may not work for you, but may work for somebody else.
Yeah. A
And
lot of people say that they like coconut cold, which is kind of like a yogurt base.
But every time we
Like
go
a
to Frozen
probiotic.
It's also that.
Yeah,
It's like a
probiotic.
probiotic
Yes.
yogurt, and you're supposed to take it like a spoonful each morning.
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of people say like it kind of is like an appetite suppressant, so I don't think like that's actually the greatest thing.
Yeah.
But something that a lot of girls in college. I
Oh
think,
yeah,
are
I've
really-
seen it all over my
It's
TikTok,
all over
yeah.
TikTok. Like a lot of girls are talking about it just because it's one of those trends that's like, oh, this is gonna make you skinnier.
Yes.
So everybody's like, oh, I don't care how much it costs. Like the sea moss from Sprouts was like, I think like $20, and then coconut cold's not like that much, and you're not getting like a lot out of it, honestly. So
Yeah.
like we're willing to spend that $20 on a jar of goop if it's
They
gonna
have
make
once
us
a day,
skinnier
yeah,
or make us
yeah.
healthier, whatever. it
I think
is.
people do pick and choose
Mhm.
where they'll look at two things, organic, non-organic. Ooh, the organic one's a little more expensive, but then this trend comes along and they're like, oh, I'll spend extra money for this coconut cold, even though
Yeah.
like you are gonna
I
spend the money on the organic food. Like it's kind of pick and choose.
yeah. Then I think you mentioned it before, like saying how like you're more likely to pick something more, like just more like
Like-
what's
Like more appealing. Like
more appealing, but, like,
yeah.
like rather
So
than
based on the
Yeah.
packaging.
yeah, so like
Yeah.
rather than like you're more like something more specific rather than something more broad. If you're shopping for a family, you're more rather to like get it for yourself.
Oh, like splurge on
Splurge,
specific.
splurge,
Ah,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example of that right there.
I think, I mean, also like to do another personal tie-in. So I grew up in Jersey, whatever, New York. After that, it was Chicago, and then I came here. I was always surrounded by like, my parents are immigrants, that our family friends are immigrants. I was always like around that like European-based, like old-fashioned lifestyle. My dad, for example, hasn't skipped breakfast in like over 50 years probably, and my dad's 50 years old, so do the math. He has breakfast every day, and he doesn't believe in not having breakfast. If I don't have breakfast and then I have a headache at 6 p.m., guess what? It's because I didn't have breakfast. And he'll tell me that every single time I don't have breakfast. But I feel like, again, like, oh, sorry. Like, again, like with the whole like influence of social media and stuff, I would say that like somebody who, like I said, I have struggled with like all that like nutrition stuff. I can say that like as a community also coming together. So not just like what are we eating? How are we eating it? How many times a day are we eating it? I came across this one girl when I was like struggling to eat. It was like I wasn't hungry in the morning, but then during the day I would have these like hunger attacks and I would just binge eat and I would just eat anything. And it was horrible because it was like, yeah, I was eating, so it's not an eating disorder, but it's like, what am I putting into my body? And it's not healthy. You know what I mean? So you can't just eat to eat. You have to figure out what you're eating, how much of you're eating it. And then I came across this one girl, I don't know if it was on TikTok or Instagram, but it was like she was saying that she's so tired of like the old-fashioned rule, like you need to eat 3 times a day. She's like, where does it say that? She's like, you need to eat whenever your body feels hungry. She's like, if you don't feel hungry in the morning, she's like, have a coffee. She's like, trust me, 30 minutes later, your body will be asking you for something, whether it's a banana, whether it's a cookie, whether it's a cracker, granola bar. She's like, okay, don't have a coffee, have a smoothie. She's like, trust me, an hour or two after the smoothie, you're gonna want a sandwich, you're gonna want a wrap, you're gonna want something, because like you said, it's different when you have a whole package of cookies with a cup of milk, or when you have 4 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, and a piece of toast. You're good, you know what I mean, after those 4 eggs for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Whereas if you eat this, not only did you put chemicals in your body, but you're also not, you know what I mean, fulfilled, and your body is looking for more.
Yeah.
It's almost as if you're creating a bigger hole in your stomach. So yeah.